When we are in fear, stress, the stress hormones shut down the immune system. It's so effective at shutting down the immune system that doctors use stress hormones therapeutically. Meaning, if I want to transplant a foreign organ into a recipient, I don't want the recipient's immune system to reject that organ. I give the recipient stress hormones before transplanting the organ. Because it's so effective in shutting down the immune system, it allows the organ to take hold before the immune system activates. Well, if you're using stress hormones therapeutically to shut down the immune system, what does that mean for the average person who is now living in stress 24/7? And the answer is, we are inhibiting our immune system every day. That immune system is responsible for preventing cancer, because every day normal people create cancer cells, but a healthy immune system will always get rid of it.
But if we look at people's everyday lives and we look at what leads people to make stress hormones today, it's not the tiger coming out of the jungle at us or someone from another tribe chasing us with their spear. It's not those, usually, thankfully, those physical threats to our life. What leads us to make things like adrenaline and cortisol today, block your ears, is caffeine and our perception of pressure and urgency. Now, I choose those words very carefully because we can tend to forget that pressure and urgency is a perception. We actually choose to see our day like that. And what so many people have done is made their email inbox full of stress and pressure and urgency. When we wake up in the morning and we see our day as difficult, or we see it that everything is urgent, when maybe in reality 2 things are actually urgent, we put ourselves into what's called sympathetic nervous system dominance, which is essentially the fight or flight response, and it's adrenaline driving that. So it changes our biochemistry on the inside because it literally thinks our life is in danger, so it prepares us to get away. So the first thing it does is elevate our blood pressure, which is an ongoing problem for so many adults in the Western world. It changes where our blood supply is directed. So normally blood supply is fantastic to our digestive system, but it gets diverted away to the periphery, to the arms and the legs, to power us to get out of danger.
So we have 3 types of stress: physical, chemical, and emotional. Physical stress, of course, is trauma, injuries, accidents, falls. Chemical stress is flus, bacterial infections, blood sugar levels, hangovers. Emotional stress, family tragedies, second mortgages, single parenting, 401ks. All of those things knock the brain and body out of balance. And so then, it's a combination of all those things with chronic conditions. And so when we talk about anxiety and depression on a functional brain scan looks exactly the same. Anxiety is when we are knocked out of balance, and when we are knocked out of homeostasis, or knocked out of balance, we turn on what's called the stress response. And when the stress response is turned on, we mobilize enormous amounts of the body's resources for some threat in our external environment. We turn on that sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight nervous system. When we begin to mobilize all that energy, of course, it gives the body a rush of adrenaline,
which changes the fuel that your body perceives it is safe to use. So in any given moment, the body is making a decision which fuel to use, and it can only use glucose or fat, or a combination of both. And when your body is on red alert thinking it's got to get out of danger quickly, it needs a fast burning fuel to power it to do that. So take a wild guess between glucose and fat, which is the preferred fuel source in that moment. It's glucose.